So I don't like to talk about it, but I have an addiction. I love money. I'm obsessed with it. I think about it all day and I want more and more of it. Money is currency. And currency in any era, in any time, is something that holds value, something you can exchange for something else in return. Currency gives you a sense of freedom and a sense of security. Money can be used to have pleasure, help other people, and fuel your family's future legacy. I work hard for my money, and I'm sure a lot of you do. And I'm not just going to throw it away. I don't gamble. If I go to the casino, I'll bring $40. I'll play the penny slots. And when it's gone, it's gone. You can find me at the bar, or you can find me at the pool. I don't gamble, but today I came prepared to place a few bets. I'm willing to bet that you have dreams, that you've had dreams, and that most of those dreams are unfulfilled, if not all of them. I'm 35 years old and I still dream. I've been dreaming since I was a kid, but what I realized is as a child, our dreams are our expectations for our life. We have no doubt, no insecurities. We have no reason to think our wishes won't come true and our dreams won't just happen. At birth, you're born pure. You don't know joy from sadness. You don't know hot from cold. You don't know the feeling of heartbreak. We learn to not expect things in this life. So many of us channel these moments in life that are life-defining moments. And from birth to 12 years old, we form what will be your personality for the rest of your life. By 12, your personality is set in stone. This is science, not my opinion. Your autonomy, your detail orientation, your social ability. By 14, 15, 16 years old, your sense of self, how you view yourself and what you feel you have to offer the outside world. But by 14, you're a fraction of what you were as that natural, pure infant. You've ricocheted off of moments and experiences in your life. By 14, 15, you've had some adversity, had your heart broken, possibly lived through a parent's divorce or loss of a loved one. You've been hurt by a friend or a so-called friend, and you've experienced these demotivational moments. These moments are the most valuable type of currency in the world if you know how and when to use them. I don't look at my 5-year-old and tell her she's not going to be a pop star, that she lacks something to achieve her vision. I don't look at my son and tell him he's too slow, too short, not good enough. These are demotivating things to say to somebody, and they'll hear their own along their journey, but not from me. So if I ask you, why are you not living your dream? Would you lie to me? Would you tell me, oh, I just stopped pursuing it. It's just a dream. I got to a fork in the road, and one street was called Dream, the other one was Normal Life, and I looked down that Dream one, and that was sketchy. I'm going to go this way. Would you be so bold to tell me that you expect your dream to come true? That you're not really doing anything to put yourself in the position for your dream to come true, but you still expect it to happen. But when you expect something, your drive, your determination, your will, it wavers. Life fulfillment and dreams are fulfilled when you exceed expectations, when you go beyond what outsiders set as your bar, when you can block them out and you shoot for that childhood expectation you set a long time ago. People talk about people that do more than the expectation in their life. I'm 21 years old. I'm in Panama City for spring break, college spring break. Never will my children be allowed to go on spring break. But I'm at the Holiday Inn, and there's thousands of kids from all across the country. There were probably 100 kids at the swimming pool. And I hear a scream, and when I turn around, I see a guy at the bottom of the deep end of the pool. One person in that crowd did the expectation, did the minimum, and called 911. Nobody talks about that guy today. One person dove in head first without even thinking about it. That was me. As I grabbed the guy's chest, I pushed off the bottom of the pool, and we came out of the water like a rocket. And I pinned the guy's hands to the side of the pool deck. I jump out, still nobody helping. And I lift a 210-pound guy onto the pool deck, face him upwards, and begin CPR, but time out. In that moment, I hear a voice inside myself that I had never heard before, saying, "You will be relentless in this fight. You are determined. You will not get tired. You will not give up." And I thought to myself, I have something that none of these other people have. I believe people call it the it factor. I just learned how to channel something that most people just don't possess. And I began CPR, and on my third round of compressions and mouth-to-mouth, the guy spits up water. I turn his body to the side. At the same time, an EMT grabs me from behind, pulls me off of him, and I go into shock. I can't believe I had just exceeded all expectations in that moment. And it's a fantastic thing. That guy lives a normal life in Cincinnati, Ohio today with no brain damage because I did beyond the expectation. And I've spoken to him since then, and he tells that story several times a year. I tell that story several times a year because people talk about people that do more than the expectation. So many people want to know, how do I uplift myself to that level of play? How do I channel that inner drive? How do I know if I have the it factor? And they look inside these self-help books and they spend thousands of dollars going to seminars. But I need to make something very, very clear right now. You cannot bottle, package, box up motivation. It's in you from your experiences from either birth to who you are now, or it's not. When you leave a seminar, when you leave a good movie, when you hear a really good song, you're inspired. You're not motivated. And inspiration is temporary. It's a stimulant. Like cocaine and alcohol, it eventually wears off and you revert back to your natural self, the self you were wired to be far before adolescence. The motivational self-help industry will try to sell you a glass half full perspective. But if your glass is half full and you did nothing to obtain the first half, what's going to make you want to do anything to get the second? Surely mom, dad, friend, colleague will come by at any time and just top me off, right? That's not how it works. People with the it factor, people that want to fulfill dreams, are constantly looking at the glass half empty, concerned where half that glass of water went, wondering if there's a leak. And what does it feel like when it gets completely empty? Keeps you on your toes, keeps your motor going, makes you have progress every day. People talk about people that do beyond the expectation. So a basketball team I was watching recently was up 30 points at halftime, and the expectation was they're going to win the game. So sports columnists, they turn off the game, they go to something else. They need something to write about the next day. But think about the other team that goes in at halftime, down 30 points. And as they head for the locker room, they see fans heading for the exits. I've been that guy before. They go into halftime, and the coach tries to inspire them, tells them the same speech he gives if they're up 5, down 2, or down 30. But inspiring somebody to come back from 30, it's going to take a little bit more than that. On some teams, on some nights, there are certain players that know how to channel that inner drive, that it factor that they have. Those are the guys we watch in the professionals, in the professional league. They're not in the locker room listening to the coach. They're reflecting on that vision of the fan heading for the exits, that demotivational moment. They're thinking of a coach that told them they would never get to the next level. They're thinking of a time when they were just old enough to understand what it meant when their parents looked them in the eye and said, "You were a mistake. We never wanted you." They play out of their mind. They deplete a 30-point deficit. They win the game. You know what happens? They make SportsCenter the next morning because people talk about people that go beyond the expectation. So I have this theory, you can call it reverse psychology if you will. But it's not. It's simple, simplistic psychology. Tell me I can't have something, and I'm going to at least ask why. Anyone with the it factor at least asks why. Understand there are people that are going to tell you can't have something because they have the same dream as you, and they don't want you to be one step ahead of them. Understand there are people that are not even pursuing their dream anymore, and they surely don't want you to achieve yours. People with the it factor, if somebody says you can't have something and you see no reasonable explanation of why not, take it and get on your way. So I have this demotivational thread theory. I have this theory that every experience that we have in our life, positive and negative, are just threads. But the ones that we hold on to as humans are the negative ones, the demotivational ones. Any thread is weak on its own and will snap with little force. But what's really cool is you take a lot of threads, you weave them together, you form a rope. A rope that you can hold on to when you get knocked down, pick yourself up. A rope that you can pull yourself when your back is against the wall, pull yourself off that wall. A rope that you can climb and elevate your game to a level that nobody else can play at. My demotivational rope is the most valuable asset in the world to me. It's priceless. And you know how much I love money. I'm 24 and I'm about to embark on my first entrepreneurial journey. If I heard one more person tell me, you're not going to make it, you're wasting your time. What's your plan B? I was going to slap somebody. Those are demotivational threads, but I knew what they were and I knew how to use them. I added them to my rope, threw my rope over my shoulder, and on I went towards my dream. That company to this day has produced over $130 million in revenue and still growing. Employs over 55 plus people, runs 24/7 in a 75,000 square foot facility and still growing. But in the early days, it was really tough. Long nights, 24-hour shifts, 48-hour shifts, pushing your mind, your body past its breaking point. And there was one particular night, I was running a machine by myself. It was probably about 3 a.m. in the morning, a year and a half in. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, was sleeping on a cot next to the machine just to see me for that 24-hour period, just to spend time with me. My body was spent. My mind was tired. My vision was blurry, and I fell to my knee. And I put my hand on the cement floor, started to cry, and I looked up at her. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I give up. She got up from the cot, walks over to me, comes down to my level, puts her hand on my back. And she said, why did you start doing this in the first place? Instantly, this is what I saw in my mind. Every coach that ever told me I was too slow, every relative that ever said, why can't you be more like so-and-so? There was no motivational guru author that showed up at the door knocking on it, offering me some advice. There was no one there to pick you up, because when you're in your darkest hour, it's you against you. Only you know your why. Only you know your drive. And I hate to talk about this too, but we all have insecurities. You can use them as baggage, as an anchor to hold yourself back and give yourself an excuse of why you're not going for your dream. Or you can realize this demotivational rope is the most valuable asset you own. So I'd like to place one more bet. And I only bet if I know I'm going to win. I bet you don't fulfill your dream. I hope you take that bet. I hope that's the last demotivational thread you needed to complete your rope. But if you take it, if you fulfill your dream, don't you dare forget to call, text, tweet, email. Get face-to-face with those individuals that caused those scars, that gave you those threads. I promise it's the most gratifying feeling in the world to thank them. Thank them for your fuel.